Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about, well, I made a thumbnail, and I totally forgot about everything else that happened this weekend. I was away for the weekend. So, because I was away for the weekend, I totally forgot that Microsoft, the deal actually went through. Like, I know I did a podcast on Friday with Lono, but I totally forgot, like, the weekend. So we're going to talk about the acquisition that finally went through. We're going to be talking about Netflix opening up physical locations. We're going to be talking about physical media just leaving. There was a report last week that Best Buy was going to be removing physical media. Now there's more rumors talking about Walmart and also Target losing physical media, so we'll talk about that today. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Details surface online of what they've made changes, rumored anyway. And then we're also going to talk about some of the Spider-Man reviews when they come out. Good morning, chat. Stealth Gaming, thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Appreciate it. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my son is home from school today, so he came in and asked me a question. All right, so we got lots of stuff to talk about. We'll make breakout videos after the fact. So if you want to watch the entire live show, you can watch the entire live show. If you want to watch the breakouts, they'll be out throughout the week when I upload them. What's going on, Stealth? What's going on, Power Boss? Travis? Who else is here? Dean? What's going on, Dean? Dave Rose? Christopher Wright got gifted membership. Who else is here? What's going on, Z? Big T, Behemoth, Water Bear. Good morning. How's everyone's weekend? '90 or the world implodes. Well, the first two games were only in the '80s. I believe. Didn't the first Spider-Man get an '87? And then the Miles Morales got an 85, did it not? I'm pretty sure that's what they got. So let me know when the first Spider-Man review comes up, right? So then I'll bring it up or whatnot. Let's talk about Netflix first, right? If you guys are here for the very first time, what we do here is we just read the news. We read the news and have conversations with you. We try to get you guys throughout the day where you're working, if you're at home, whatever, just keeping you entertained, having conversations back and forth with chat. And we do appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us. This one's going to get a 95. I'm calling it. Great. I hope so. I also got I replaced the Jack Burton emote in chat with. You guys should be able to do the PlayStation one. Oh no, it didn't update yet. Let me look. It didn't update it. Let me make sure. Oh, it did. There you go. So now we have a Game Pass one, and now we have a PlayStation one. So that way nobody feels left out. There you go. So it is. There you go. Let me refresh mine because I don't think mine's up to date here. There it is. There it is. You wanted the Sony Pony? This is the one what it is for right now until I can create one. Water. Did it pain me to make it? No. Why would it pain me? 91 on Metacritic too? What's a 91? Power Boss. What's going on, Intervoid? What's that 91 referencing? Spider-Man 2 reviews. Already up? All right, let me see. Yeah, it's got so far 92, 91, 92, based on 60 critic reviews. All right, so we'll save that for a little bit. we'll let the reviews come on in, and then we'll read some. I'm doing a service for you because I know the majority of the population, like I said on Friday, don't give two craps about the reviews because they're going to go out and buy the game regardless if it's high or low because people just want to play games. Every time, did you guys see the review of the Ahsoka show by IGN? They gave it 9s and 10s throughout the entire season, and then they came out with an article saying it wasn't as good as they thought it was, and I just started laughing out loud. My wife was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Stealth Gaming with his 4th gifted membership this morning. Yeah, I just find it absolutely hilarious. All right, so let's start off with the first topic that we're going to talk about today. Okay, Netflix, okay, is opening physical stores. So if it's your first time here, Stealth, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. If you're here for the very first time, we do breakout videos, right? So if you're here with the live chat, you get to interact with me live with the chat, go back and forth and whatnot. We have good conversations, okay? If you're here after the fact, you're just going to watch this as a video just slotted for Netflix. So that's what we're going to do, all right? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Netflix is opening physical stores where fans can binge merch, theme food, and live events. It brings Netflix at home isn't enough. You'll soon be able to binge merch, live experiences, and theme food based on the stream service's most popular properties. Netflix says it plans to open up new line of retail shops it calls Netflix House, where fans can immerse themselves in the world of Stranger Things, Squid Games, Bridgerton, and more of their favorite movies and TV shows. Bloomberg reported on the streaming giant's retail venture on Thursday, which was born out of the company's experimentation with the pop-up shops in the last few years. Josh Scheinman, Netflix Vice President of Consumer Products, said that Netflix House will allow fans to shop for clothing, eat food themed around the company's entertainment franchises, and participate in live experiences such as obstacle courses straight out of Squid Games. He says, quote, "We've seen how much fans love to immerse themselves in the world of our movies and TV shows, and we've been thinking a lot about how it can take out the next level of," Simon told Bloomberg. Okay. He says Netflix will open the first 2 Netflix House locations from U.S. in 2025, and they expand stores global thereafter. Each store will then have rotating installations, including ticketed shows and restaurants with food ranging from fast casual to high-end dining desserts and spirits inspired by unsubscribed shows. Or unscripted. Sorry, unsubscribed. I unsubscribe. Unscripted shows like cooking shows and popular series. To give you an idea of the fan experience, Netflix House will offer the company-hosted The Queen's Ball, the Bridgerton experience, in 10 cities across New York, or North America, New York, Los Angeles, Montreal, where fans lived the Bridgerton dreams for one night as they drank and danced to classical renditions of their favorite pop songs. It also opened up the pop-up restaurant called Netflix Bites, where fans were treated to food and drinks created by chefs and platform cooking shows, along with the Stranger Things brand frozen pizza and ice cream. More details about Netflix House's location of stores will be announced at a later date. So what I thought was funny about this Netflix, they have Netflix Bites, is that Netflix, since 1997, they literally put every, video store out of business, right? Because they were delivering movies to your house by mail, right? And everyone's like, it'll never catch on. Here we are, almost 20 years later, okay? Actually, 2007, we're over 20 years later, okay? And Netflix is now trying to get in on making physical shops. Now, the physical shops are not going to be their mass of selling or renting the movies, but I would assume that they would put them in the actual physical shop. But the reason they're making these is because so you could buy merch, right? So you can have themed events. They showed one of these things here with the Bridgerton event. This was an event they had where they had 10 locations and they had people actually like dress up and be a part of that whole location. So basically, it looks like a wedding event, basically, where people just have fun. And I think this is freaking dumb. I do. Because, sure, you can go out to bars, you can go out to different places, but now Netflix, who's like hemorrhaging money left and right because they can't make enough actual first-party films and television shows because they're spending a fortune. Now they want to open up physical locations so they can sell T-shirts and food, which I think is kind of dumb. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below and also in the live chat. Would you go to one of these things where if they had like a Stranger Things arcade, you might go play the arcade like once or twice, but you're not going to be going there all the time. It's more of a tourist trap or attraction, whatever you want to call it. I think it's kind of foolish to get into the physical media and locations, especially when you've been digital this whole time. Obviously, I don't personally want to go back to a Blockbuster Video and try to rent movies and see if they're out where I can just stream it directly to my television. So I think this is a little weird. Maybe as far as the themed entertainment franchises, such as like Squid Games, if they did like a obstacle course. But how big is this place going to be that they're going to be popping up Squid Game obstacle courses and whatnot? I think this is a little silly. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you gonna go out and rent movies from a Netflix Bite or Netflix Home? What is it called? The Netflix House. Okay. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat if you guys would be interested in going to a location to get your movies and also live your fantasies of your favorite Netflix shows. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. America's bored. Yeah, it's just weird. Like, I don't understand why you would go to an actual physical location, especially since the reason they worked is because they mailed you the videos. And now, did you know, they mailed out their last video, I think it was like last week or 2 weeks ago, where there's no more physical media going out anymore for Netflix. They're only digital. And now, because there's no physical discs anymore, it makes sense. Are they going to be putting them in these locations? Who knows? But they stopped. They delivered their last physical disc a couple weeks ago, and now they're all digital. And then now they have pop-up shops that are coming up and more physical stores that'll be permanent going up across the U.S. In major cities. Kylo says, if it was in my area, sure, I check it out. But I can see food being terrible. But even if you go out once, Kylo, do you see yourself, I don't know. Obviously, I used to go out all the time. I like going to bars and like clubs and stuff when I was younger. And I can see the younger crowd going to these things. As a tourist place, be like, check it out. Let's go check out Netflix Bites. It's okay food, whatever, blah, blah. I can see you going there like once, maybe twice. But I can't see you going out there once a week to try to eat at Netflix Bites. Or, hey, we're going to go to our local video store so we can pick up some movies. I don't really see it. Powerboss says Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video are also Redbox. And no, I haven't started watching the new Loki season yet. I'm probably not going to watch it till the very end. There's only 6 episodes, so it's a real short season. What's going on, Sarge? What was the other thing that they did? There was another thing that was just supposed to be on. Oh, Amazon. Amazon did the exact same thing, right? And their stores are not doing very good. Amazon shops popped up in like pop-up shops, and they sold their goods that they were selling on Amazon, the best-selling things that were on Amazon, and they were selling it inside an actual Amazon shop. And I was just like, doesn't that defeat the purpose? Doesn't that defeat the purpose? It felt warm and fuzzy having a movie night or getting a game and play the hell out of it, trying to beat it in a few days. Oh, you're talking about the physical. Yeah, I get that, boss. But that time is gone, man. People don't want to leave their houses. You know this. You still go to actual movies, right? I still go to actual movies, but the masses are not going to movie theaters anymore. You think they're going to go back to a physical shop to rent movies? I don't see it happening. Sarge is not 40, Travis. He's not my younger brother. He's my older brother. Reese says, I just don't see a point of the store. I think they're marketing the store more towards foodies, people that want to get out and have like themed nights, or sort of like what a theme park does, right? They like make Mario Land so you can be in Mario Land. So if they make Stranger Things arcade, they would like show up and be like, oh my God, this is so cool. You know, take some pictures, social media type stuff. Life won't be worth living once theaters are gone and everything is completely digital. No reason to go outside of your house. I feel you there, boss. I love movies. We've had this conversation. It'll be like Planet Hollywood. Yes. It would exactly be like Planet Hollywood. Subpar food with famous things from films in the background while you eat. That's it. What's going on, Boo? I think I see what they're doing, but I think they're a little early for that. I think there's that aim is an inverse reflection of 20 years ago. Well, I don't think they're early. I think in certain places like LA, New York, Austin, Texas, I think this could be successful for them. I don't think this is successful for them if they open it up if they're opening up 1,000 locations, it's going to bomb. But if they open up in major cities and it's maybe 10, 20 locations across the United States or across the world, I can see them actually making it. But I don't see this like coming back like Blockbuster or anything like that. I am not Behemoth. We're not touching D4 probably until season 4. But what if it's not subpar food and be a real hit? Like I said, Mo, I think if it's a niche thing and there's not many of them, I think it could do good. But if they start to mass produce and they have to have all the food, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Yeah, Planet Hollywood is garbage. It's a tourist trap. That's what it is. It's a tourist trap. We have it at downtown Disney Springs. Yeah, a handful of locations, nostalgia trip. Exactly. And I can see it working if they do that, right? Like when they did this, they did the Bridgerton thing. We had this up earlier. They did the Bridgerton thing where they had 10 locations that just did it for one night. And they were successful because it was a one-night thing, right? If this was opened every single day of the week, 365, that polish, it wears off real fast to have something like this. You still have Planet Hollywood. I thought they closed down. No, they're there. They're there. They sold off, and then they have like new ownership. They're not owned by Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, and Bruce Willis anymore. I think they're owned by Darden. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who owns them. I think the food is a large enough portion, semi-good food, and themed around whatever the event is. It might be better, but I like going to movie theaters and you have crying kids all around. I think for the most part, when you go to a theater, in my experience, every once in a while, you'll get a movie that comes out and you have, like, if you're going to an adult movie, not many people bring their kid along that's going to be crying. Only like the new parents that need to get out of the house and bring their parent, and if they're a good parent, they'll get up and leave if their kid starts to cry. But for the most part, you're going to get more people checking their phones and, being loud because they're obnoxious or whatever. But for the most part, kids are not ruining movies unless you go to a kid movie. And then if you go to a kid movie, you're not really ruining the movie. It's part of the experience when you go to the theater. You'll never be able to tell me a movie is better at home than in a theater. You'll never. It'll be like, change my mind. It'll never happen. It'll change my mind. I love theaters. Love theaters. I love the whole vibe of theaters. I love when there's an action sequence, you can feel the people on the edge of their seats, or like it's just a tense moment. If it's a love romance movie, you can feel all the people like tearing up. If it's a touching moment, you know what I mean? Like nothing is better than the vibe, right? And it's been proven, like the vibe of anything. Like if someone next to you is angry, it oozes off on you to get you angry. Okay, and that happens almost like a yawn. You know what I'm talking about? Like if I yawn right now, if you're listening to me or watching me, you'll yawn as well. Okay? Like the energy of people when you're with people, other people, it oozes off, and some people catch it and some people don't. "30 is bias? Bias on what? Movie theaters? Movies are better at home? I disagree. I mean, you can like it at home. I would rather sit in a theater with the massive surround sound system with other people. It's like playing a PvP game with nobody. If you go home to watch a movie, you're there by yourself. And it's like, hey, honey, can you take out the trash? Hey, pause that for a second. I gotta go to the bathroom. Hey, pause this for a second. It's like the moment you watch a movie, everything doesn't matter for that hour and a half, 2 hours. Everyone like signs an agreement when you walk into a theater to shut the fuck up and sit down and watch a film. If one of those people doesn't, they're the asshole. Oh, that moment, Kylo, when Captain America goes and catches that hammer, and everyone in the theater, come on, bro. You're not getting that. You're not getting that in your house. You'd be like, that's cool. You can't be a live reaction. Seeing it again, yeah, I just heard that. I was going nuts. Yeah, it's absolute a beauty moment in theaters when that happens. The problem is most people don't sign in when someone says something. Somehow the dude is the asshole. I mean, if you're checking your emails or bringing a crying baby to the theater, you are the asshole. If you look around and go, wait, why is everyone angry at me? You're the asshole. That's why I'm a crap. Regardless if you hated it or not, Moo, right? Regardless if you hated it or not, the description that we just said was the theater exploded because everyone was hyped for that. You can hate it. That's not part of the conversation. See, if you were in the theater and watched that moment yourself and went, boy, that's stupid. Or you were at home, you would still go, boys, that's stupid, right? But in the theater, everyone around you goes, oh my God. And you're like, boy, is that stupid. And when you're at home, you're like, boy, is that stupid. Oh, wait, I'm saying that out loud to myself because no one's around. Did you hear, Water, that Taylor Swift, basically almost beat Endgame? She almost beat Endgame for opening night at the theater. She brought in like $310 million opening night. No, I'm saying when I say a dude, shut your phone off, now somewhat I'm the asshole. No, that's not true, Travis. It's just people if you ask someone to stop using their phone, you're not the asshole. The asshole is the person using the phone. Everyone around you is just too chicken shit to actually get your back when you're saying it because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. How large of a place should it be for a place possibly be worth it? For what? For the Netflix building? I'm saying if that's what you're asking, if they're saying they're putting a Squid game in there, it's got to be pretty goddamn big. Otherwise, it feels like a children's birthday party in the backyard, wouldn't it? I watched the moment in Marvel's Avengers Endgame in movie theaters. It was an awesome moment, an emotional moment. Yeah. It's like this bonding moment when you watch something in the theater. I remember energy when watching Avengers Endgame. I know a lot of people don't like it, but the energy in the cinema at the end, you can plug it in. That's what I'm saying, Embu. I'm not saying if you like it or not. I'm just saying that the energy in the theater is there. Think about this, Water, right? Oh, Beyonce's doing the same thing. Just to let you guys know. Right? Beyonce just announced that she's going to be doing theater just like Taylor Swift. And I said this when it happened like a month ago when I talked about it. I said when Taylor Swift announced that she's going to theaters, I said the movie theaters are gonna see this as a big success, and everyone's gonna follow suit. Beyonce's following suit of Taylor Swift, and AMC made a shit ton of money, and they don't have to keep the theater open for 5 more days under contracts. Right? She had her movie in the theaters for the week or the weekend, and that was it. It was there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and done. Now there's another show coming. She's doing on another Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but she doesn't put it into during the week, just the weekend. And AMC is like, yeah, that sounds great. Oh, did Beyonce just learn how to make money all of a sudden? Yeah, apparently they didn't know they could put their stuff in the theaters, Sarge, until Taylor Swift did it. Until Taylor Swift did it. They couldn't figure it out. They're like, hey, I want to make more money. And they're like, you got to tour more. And Taylor's like, I'll just tour, and then I'll also put it in theaters for people that can't see my thing live. Does Travis have a fever? Did he actually spit facts? He actually spit facts. I know, 11, but Travis Scott is not as popular as Taylor Swift. I hate to break it to you, 11. I'm not, there's other people that have done it before. I mean, U2 has been doing it for years with things that they do, right? They think outside the box to make money. Did you see the concert they threw in the big globe inside Vegas? U2 U2 they think outside the box. Well, he did beat her album this year. You know, 11. She's the first person. She's made $4.1 billion in her tour. Nobody's coming close to that. Nobody came close to that. The closest person, and we looked it up about a month ago, was Elton John, and he toured for 900 days, and he almost made $1 billion. I'm not a fan. I'm just we just looked up the numbers. What did Travis do? What's his last album? Is it album sold? is his last one, Utopia. 340,000 albums sold. Or you talk about the 2018 Astro World where he sold 900,000 sales. Because when people bring up stuff, I love to look it up because I like to learn. I like little learn things. If I didn't know something, I want to know it. So Travis Scott equivalent album sales, streaming, his album sales are through the roof, right? Through the roof. Has been teasing Utopia for years. One release of Perfectly responded, one of the biggest hip hop debuts in recent years. In the second half, Tens, his rise superstardom, was unstoppable, and when seemed ready to take over the crowd of Drake, it was also a new hip hop seller, Astro World Festival tragedy, but then a huge question mark on the future of his career. Travis Scott album sales, US 365, global sales 180,000. Okay, now let's go. Let's go this. Hold on. Let's go that. And then let's take this. Hello. Thank you. And let's close that. All right. So let's look. Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, what is this? This is the new one, or is this the new one? Total sales. Yeah, it's not even close. This is her first album. That's his first album. You can combine all his albums, and they don't even equal her first album. I mean, that's a 5 in front of that 8. That's a 365. Yeah, not even close. Not even close. You're not talking about revenue? What are you talking about? More sales? She's got more copies sold, more sales. She's got more higher ticket prices, or not ticket prices. She's sold out every show. She's making $4 billion. So what are you taking? What's the thing that you're taking that says that he's better? I mean, I'm okay. I'm not taking a stance and defending her or him. You said that he beat her in something. I would like to know what that is. He did beat her album this year, but definitely does better numbers overall. I don't know what's her new album this year. What's her newest album? How many copies did her new album sell? Taylor Swift's version of her follows Swift's re-recording Red and Fears album released in 2021 of Speaks Now. Version is 507,000 copies sold. Physical sales compromised to 410,000. With digital albums, it's not like literally 507,000. His Utopia is 255,000. I said this year alone, this album debut beat her previous debut numbers. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. His debut album in 2023, Utopia, right? I know nothing about this man. I'm literally learning as we talk about it right now. Okay. It says 255,000 in US. Okay. And then everything else is lower than that in global sales and whatnot, right? So total, he's got 270,000. Right? Her album this year has got 507,000 copies sold. That's double his. And that's this year's. Am I wrong with that? Talking about stream numbers upon release, not revenue or units sold. Stream numbers. I'm just repeating the Billboard article. All right, well, let me look up the Billboard article. Okay. This is from July 12th. Is there a new article? Because this one is showing that Taylor Swift Midnight is at number 3. This one says that Morgan Wallen, 3.312 million. SZA, 1.982 million. Taylor Swift Midnights, 1.876 million. Wallen's on here again with number 4. Metro Boomin is number 5. Bad Bunny number 6. Drake and 21 Savage is number 7. Zach Bryan number 8. Karol G is number 9, and Taylor Swift is number 10. So Taylor Swift's got 2 on the top 23's top 10 albums in the U.S. And then top-selling albums in the U.S., physical and digital album sales combined. Taylor Swift's number 1 with 607,000. Tomorrow X Together, 399. Stray Kids, Twice, Morgan Wallen, 17, Metallica, August D, Jim and Face, and Melanie Martinez. Yeah, send me it. And then this is not me this is me not like arguing with you, 11. This is me trying to educate myself on stuff, right? And everything that I've seen, I've only seen her at the top of the charts. No, and I'm the same way, 11. Same way. I'm not trying to defend her over what you're saying. Is just that what I've seen is that she's she's breaking records left and right. So this is no pun intended there, breaking records. Just trying to find information. That's all. That's all. Now it might be the biggest rap album. Sure. No, actually, my wife wanted to bring me to go see the movie, and I was like, no, I'm not going. I said I can't sit in a theater because, speaking of theaters, Water, to feel that vibe of all the estrogen that'll be in that theater, and every time she sings, they're going to be singing along with her and like squealing and screaming. No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to go see Taylor Swift concert, because I went to a concert. What was it, back in 20? I think it was 2012. She came to a concert here in Orlando, or I forget when, and I went with my wife then, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. You should go, Mike. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I would, my wife actually, she said, she goes, you could go to sleep. And I was like, it's true. I probably could. I could drown it all out. Could just drown it all out and fall asleep. She doesn't want to go by herself. She just doesn't want to go by herself. I got to get all the other. There we go. All right. Next topic, we're going to talk about Walmart. Walmart. Okay. There was an article last week talking about Best Buy. We brought it up on GXG. And now there's Walmart, and we also have Target. So we're going to talk about that on the next topic here. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about physical media is going to just seem to not exist anymore. So Walmart to stop selling physical Xbox games, says claim. Now, this is just a rumor, but we had an article last week that Best Buy, which also was a rumor for two people, insiders said that Best Buy was going to stop selling physical DVDs and Blu-rays inside their store and also online. Now, Walmart is also to stop selling physical Xbox games, says claim. Now, in the wake of the news of Best Buy, we start to phase out the sales of physical media. It's been claimed that Walmart is planning to follow suit, starting the discontinuing of the sales of physical Xbox games in the new year. I think it's kind of weird that the article just says Xbox games. It doesn't say games. It says Xbox games. This claim comes from Josh Fairhurst, the CEO of Limited Run Games, on Twitter. He explains now that he has heard rumors that Walmart is dropping physical Xbox games soon, but further cuts will be made in the future that could also impact other platforms. Now, he says physical being phased out. Okay. It was just yesterday that Ubisoft representatives was also explaining how there was always going to be a market for physical games. Today, a claim has dropped suggesting that the biggest retailer in the U.S., United States, is preparing to stop stocking physical media, which will undoubtedly blow it to the market, but also it's inevitable. At the time, goes on to becoming increasingly digital as gamers, with the cloud streaming services rising in popularity over time, and tech titans like Microsoft and Sony fielding consoles that also suit the digital player. Physical media becoming almost, just bye-bye of the bird there. Says Josh Fairhurst, I would expect to see a trend continue in 2024. I've also heard rumblings that Walmart is dropping physical Xbox games soon, and I've had imagined further cuts to physical gaming sections will be made, as well as getting deeper into the year. Now, I find this kind of funny because I brought it up on GXG on Thursday night. I said to Sarge, I say, you know who would benefit from everything going digital? I said Limited Run Games would be the beneficiary of this happening because they still make physical games. And then, lo and behold, Josh Fairhurst from Limited Run comes out and says, hey, I heard that they were also getting rid of Walmart games. Okay? So I find it interesting. Now, Josh Fairhurst believes that in 2024, Unravel's Walmart and outside of the potential other retailers will make further cuts to physical gaming sections. Are you still buying physical games? That's my question to you guys. Are you still buying physical games? I've said, and I've been a person that's said this for years, I said, and then within the last couple of months, I said that the cloud gaming is going to get faster and faster. It's going to become better and better, and it's going to be the majority of the market within the next 6 to 7 years. Okay, so Walmart, and then there was also another one that said Target was also. So people that come out and say, I'm always going to buy physical games. You are until you're not. You are until you're not. Because the only reason you buy physical games still is because someone sells the games. If they don't sell the games, then you can't buy the games. Okay? So if now Best Buy doesn't sell physical copies, and Walmart doesn't sell physical copies, and now Target's not going to sell physical copies, and then Amazon doesn't deliver physical copies anymore, and everything goes digital, then where are you going to get your physical copies from? GameStop? Right? GameStop, that's also struggling. No one's going to buy games there anymore because everyone is switching over to digital. Well, now we have cloud gaming, right? The big thing in the FTC case and the CMA case against Microsoft with Activision Blizzard was that the cloud gaming. Everyone thought it was Call of Duty, but it was cloud gaming. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, cloud gaming. Nothing's going to happen with cloud gaming, right? And then all of a sudden, PlayStation comes out and says, hey, we got cloud gaming. Ta-da! Right? So now physical media is going bye-bye. And this weekend, a couple weeks ago, my parents got struck by lightning, and the parents' house got struck by lightning, and it blew out both their television sets. So they had to buy 2 new TVs. Well, they happened to buy a Samsung TV, and I totally forgot about it, and I went down to go visit them this weekend. And then when I got there, I brought my son's Xbox, and I came into the house, and I put it there, and I go, oh, you have a Samsung TV? They're like, yeah. I said, do you have the gaming on there? And they're like, I have no idea. I went, well, let's see. I took my controller out of the bag, popped on their television set, hit the on button on my thing, synced up to the television. It was seamless. It was less than 2 minutes, and I was already playing games. And I tried a crap ton of games. I went, this is pretty impressive. So I took Forza Motorsports, started playing on the television set. You could, right at the start, it was a little long logging in, okay? It said there's a small queue. It was about 3-minute wait. Game turned on, started playing. In the very beginning, it was a little pixelated, right? It was a little pixelated, and then all of a sudden it went crystal clear, okay? Playing the racing game had no issues. No delay. Every once in a while, when my mom or someone would walk by the TV, okay, it would stutter just a second, okay? I was like, that's pretty impressive, though, for what's happening right now, right? Because if you imagine, it's literally streaming from the cloud, coming across, and my dad's going, wait a minute, you're just playing games on the television? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm sorry, you're playing games on the television? I was like, yeah, he's like, there's no console. I said, there's no console. He's like, that looks incredible. I go, I know. So then we started playing. I turned on Starfield. And Starfield, right when I turned it on, it took a bit, right? Because it had to sync up my information from my Xbox and the cloud, and then it popped up on the screen, a little pixelated when it first started, and then it went crystal clear, okay? And then I was playing Starfield, got into Space Battle, no issue, right? Then we turned on, and I played Cocoon. Not a problem with Cocoon. Cocoon was a nice little puzzle game. Played that for a good 15, 20 minutes just to test it out. Beautiful. Then we played Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the cloud. My son was like, this is amazing. He was playing it, okay? Yeah, I used the Game Pass app on the Samsung TV, Jesse. Okay? And I was just like, this is insane. He wasn't playing multiplayer. He was just playing the co-op, was playing against the NPCs inside the game, played a little bit of the single player stuff, and I was just like, this is crazy. Right? This is crazy. Right? So with this all said, right? Make the problem, sell the solution, right? I'm not saying that this is the way it's going as far as Sony a couple years ago was working with Azure, which is Microsoft, and Microsoft with the cloud gaming, and they're working together, and then PlayStation's worked on their own cloud gaming, and now they have cloud gaming, and Microsoft's got the cloud, and they talked about the cloud, and they had to get the rights out for the cloud, and all of a sudden, right, Walmart is getting rid of, supposedly, the physical media. Target, supposedly, getting rid of physical media. Best Buy supposedly getting rid of physical media of DVDs and Blu-ray, and games will follow, right? Now, I'm not saying this is all going to be gone and bye-bye by 2024, and there still will be physical games, and this is why I talked about limited run games. Limited run games is going to benefit from this, because now that people, you and me, that like to collect the physical media of stuff, the older gamers, because the younger gamers, there's going to be a very few amount of people that are actually care about having physical games. They're all about instant gratification, okay? Instant gratification. Even to the fact of even people that are young or older, right? That if a game takes too long to load, they're just like, they move on as well, because they've been conditioned now that if it doesn't work instantaneously, then they're just going to move on, right? So now the big corporations are getting rid of physical media. You're going to have to go to niche markets to try to find the physical media, okay, to buy your stuff, either if it's from limited run games or if other places pop up now, and then you're going to be paying a premium price for those physical media stuff, okay, and or you're going to be playing on a cloud digital service, if it's through Sony, if it's through Xbox, if it's through Luna, if it's through Apple. It doesn't matter what company it is. Pick a company. Cloud gaming is happening. It's happening faster than you think, and it'll be here before you know it. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please leave a comment down below in the live chat. Let me know what you guys think. And if you like what we do here, please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. All right. 11 says, so I stand corrected. He broke her single-day streaming record on Spotify, and that's what he beat her out on. I misread the article from the Music Weekly, and then they used the Billboard to certify it. There you go. Well, that's cool. He beat her. He beat her for the single day on Spotify. That's cool. I believe Nintendo physical media won't decline at all. There is rumors, Jones, that they are... There's a rumor that they're not going backwards compatible. And I said that's going to be pretty dick if they choose not to do that. Like, they move away from those little cartridges, you know, for the next Switch 2. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come around. They might not get rid of physical media, but they also might get rid of all the stuff that you can't buy anymore, so you can rebuy it, or that you have to pay a service to get those games on a service. I think we'll still have a collection of like 150 plus games. Not even using the internet on the TV. That's just amazing. Yeah, nothing, Z. There was Wi-Fi. So my mom, I said, "What's your internet speed?" And she said she looked at a bill and she said it's fast internet. So I looked it up on Xfinity, and I think it was like 50 megabytes download and like 5 upload or something like that. And I was like, "If that's what you pay for?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, okay. It was, and I'm not fluffing it up here. It was immaculate. Okay, when I say little hiccups here and there, I was amazed by it. I've done it on the iPad and whatnot, and it was fine. But to go through the television set, and I said, "How much did you pay for this television?" She said $368 or something like that. It was on sale, right? Maybe it was $399, but it was like less than $400. And I went, "That is insane. That all you need is this and your television set, this and your phone, this and your tablet, right? Whatever it is, right? And that goes for Xbox, Nvidia. You could also play regular games on the Samsung as well, a separate service that you have to have a Samsung account to play that games. And certain games were also on their cloud service as well. I was like, I know I read it somewhere. I promise I wouldn't bring up a Nothing Burger for Stir the Pot. No, you're good, 11. Look, on this show is about communication back and forth with chat. This is an entertainment show of I read the news, we have conversations back and forth, and if you bring something, it's never really off topic. It could be the topic at that time. And I wasn't defending as it, right? I read stuff, you read stuff, we were going back at it, and seeing which one it is. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about just getting information. That's all. There's no trophies given at the end of this stream. You don't get an achievement or a win for your day and be like, well, I beat 30 on that one. It's literally just having a conversation. Hasn't Nintendo had different media sources for every system though? Yes, but when the industry, and again, we always say Power Boss, that Uncle Nintendo always does what it wants, right? Because they can. Okay. And they've had, right? They had the small discs when everyone had the bigger discs. They went cartridges. They went back to CDs. You know what I mean? Like, they're always different. They always stick out amongst the crowd of everybody else. And everybody's always worried. PlayStation, Xbox, always battling out. And little Nintendo over in the corner, it's destroying everybody with the most game sales ever. Okay. So the big problem there is, even if they go over to the next thing, right, the Switch 2, okay, and they go away from the cartridges, and now I got to rebuy all the stuff again, or maybe I got to get a service to access the games I already bought. Do you know what I mean? It would be really, really shitty of them. But again, Nintendo's Nintendo. They'll do what they want. A chip insert directly into your brain. I think about the Minecraft sales and what they can do with the TVs, etc. Minecraft just passed 300 million copies sold. They announced at the Xbox Live. Now the question is, could they put the Xbox TV app on my big screen Mitsubishi projection TV from 1989? Well, Water, I'm telling you, man, when they can get the price down, okay, when they can get the price down, that Keystone that sits behind Phil Spencer up on his shelf, that little box, I'm telling you, man, when they can get that down lower than $100, $100, mark my words, you're going to get a controller, you're going to get that little box, okay, and you're going to have Xbox on any television for $100. That's how they get Game Pass to 100 million. Okay? How many people bought a Fire Stick? You don't even need a Fire Stick anymore, right? All the smart TVs do all the stuff, okay? The more they make deals with TV companies, okay, it'll be on their smart TV. If it's through the browser, if it's through the app, if it's integrated into the television, okay, it's going to be there. I was promised victory cookies. You can go bake yourself some victory cookies. Oh, my cousin pays for the service that lets him play the 64 games he already played and beat, and he loves it. Oh yeah, Nintendo. Yeah. They're already in there. It's all the past old games, like the old games. Yeah, 100%. Nintendo is exactly what you said with the Switch. Old games you could previously buy and own, and the Wii and the DS are now tied into a subservice. It sucks. Yeah, and that's exactly what they'll do. They'll take everything that you earn now, and then they'll put it over to the next Switch 2. Better graphics, and if you want to access your other games, it's a service. I can't remember the last time I saw an RCA connection. My mom's brand new television. It was a 26-inch television she got in her kitchen. Also, I think Samsung. On the back, because my son wanted to play the PlayStation, right? On the big TV. I said, it doesn't hook up to it. My mom's like, what cable do you need? I'm like, you don't have the cable. She's like, what cable do you? I was like, you don't have the cable. I was like, you need an RCA converted into a HDMI. I was like, you don't have one of those. And then I went to the kitchen TV, brand new TV, Water. I looked in the back of it. It had the RCA things. I was like, mother. It had HDMI and RCA. And I was like, well, you can play on this TV. My son's like, no, I want to play on the big one. He would rather play streaming from the universe to the television set than taking the PlayStation and hooking it up to the television. Z says, the breaker box will also allow them to sell a controller with the screen in the middle so you can remote play.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Kyle, thank you very much for the 6-month support, man. Appreciate that very much. And I know I missed earlier. I think Stealth. Was it Stealth? Someone gifted some other subs and I missed it. I know I did. Let me look it up. Gifted membership. Stealth did the $5 super chat. IGN is trash. So okay, so Stealth gave 3 gifted subs and a super chat, and then Kyle, thank you very much for the membership as well. Appreciate that. That's a nice little bonus they did for us in YouTube. You can actually go back now and see. Game Informer gave Spider-Man 9.5. We're gonna get that. What time is it? 11 o'clock. Yeah, we'll get that. We're gonna do this next one, which is Suicide Squad, and then we'll talk about Spider-Man. I still got Spider-Man, and then we can talk a little bit about like just all the games that Microsoft acquired, like how many studios. If you look at a picture from 2007 to now, what Microsoft has, it's like they had 5 or 7 studios in 2017, and now they have like 35. It's nuts. It's nuts. Did you think that this is me? But do you think if they do a Battlefront 3, we might see some Old Republic stuff, or nah? I would say no. I think they would do like the bare minimum, Travis. What's going on, Lurker? Good morning, 30. What happened? Didn't expect today? Didn't expect what? Me going live? Hope WoW comes to console. I think it will. I think it will. If it doesn't come to console, like if they're selling disc, Akudababa, I've said this for months. I said it last year when they picked it up. I said I think it goes to Game Pass. I think it does. $5 to $52. It's insane. It's insane. Oh no, Lurker. Yeah, no. It was a weekend trip. It was go down, visit the parents, come back up. That was it. I gotta get back to the grind. The only time I take a vacation is we'll take one vacation over the summer, and then we'll do a Christmas vacation. Other than that, it's a quick weekend getaway. I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday anyway, so. Who do you think Xbox has its sights on? I think it's either these are my 3. Okay, these are my 3. I think we get something about Square Enix, and me and Sarge talked about that months and months and months and months ago. I think we get Sega, and then the one out in left field. The one out in left field is that they grab some developers from Embracer Group, but not Embracer Group themselves, because they won't let Embracer Group. But I think Embracer Group's hurting, and I think they're going to sell some studios off to Microsoft. Is your Christmas vacation similar to National Lampoon's? My family's like that. Yeah. Yeah, my family's like that. You got to look at it this way. They bought the biggest publisher for $69 billion. Okay? It's because it was a publisher. Okay? any publisher they buy after is going to be smaller than that. Right? No publisher they can buy right now is going to be bigger than what they bought with Activision Blizzard King. Okay. So now you got to look at anyone potentially could be bought. I don't think they buy anyone. I don't think we're going to get any announcements this year. I think early next year, as soon as the new year happens, then they start talking about it. No, Water. That doesn't mean anything like that at all, right? No, I don't think Water says so. So what you're saying, 30, is Microsoft has zero excuse now. Their games should be top notch, cream of the crop from going point forward. No, their games are going to be exactly what they are. They're going to be mid to high 80s, maybe low 90s, and they're going to be on Game Pass because they're not selling games. They're selling Game Pass. If Sony Entertainment was going to go with Sony, if SE was going with Sony, then it's weird play that they're getting cost with Phil Spencer, or Square Enix's cost with Phil Spencer. Did you hear that Sony's going to make a bid for Ubisoft? That's going to be really Ubisoft, in my opinion, Travis, made themselves unbuyable at this time. And the reason for that is because Microsoft had to sell off the cloud service to Ubisoft. Ubisoft it can't be touched. Now, if Sony comes in and buys Ubisoft and then they own the rights to the cloud service of Call of Duty in perpetuity for 15 years and anything after that for those games from Microsoft, that would look pretty fucking stupid, wouldn't it? I don't even think Ubisoft gets bought by Microsoft. They're in bed with them. Why do they need to buy them? I said the same thing with EA. I don't think EA gets bought out by Microsoft. Why? Because they're already in bed with them on Game Pass. Yeah. Ubisoft is untouchable. The only way it could happen is if Ubisoft gets purchased, they would have to sell off the rights to somebody else for the cloud service part. They would not be able to take that. Right. It would if they get bought, they would lose the rights to that. There was no way they would go to it. All right. Here, we'll do this before we do the next look at this. Right? This is what Xbox owns now. This is insane. Okay? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 companies within Xbox Studio itself. Okay? They tripled that in 5 years or 6 years. Okay? Then they have Bethesda. Okay? Then they got Bethesda itself, which is what's that? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So they got 23 studios with just Bethesda and now Xbox Studio. And then they bring in Blizzard. Okay. Blizzard's 9 studios. Okay. 9 studios. So now you have 32 studios. And then you have King. They went from 5 studios in 2017 to 33 studios. It's insane. It's insane. If every game is working on a AA or AAA game right now, and they released only 4 per year, okay, they've got the next 5-6 years planned for just major games coming out. Oh yeah, I know King has studios as well. Right? That's insane. No, Activision makes games. Don't they? Doesn't Activision make games? They made games in the past. Do they not make games anymore? Is there no Activision games? I mean, I know they're a publisher, but I could have sworn they also made games in the past. $70 billion and not one good company. That's just sad. Well, that's false. No, what's that? What is that, Stealth? You talking about this thing right here? These people, Analog 3D, the future is here. Wireless Bluetooth 2.4, 4 original style controller ports, completely engineered, FPGA, analog OS. No emulation. A reimagined N64 4K resolution, original display modes, reference quality restrictions, specific model. Okay, coming in 2024. Okay, but you're not showing me anything here. What? Products. Analog Pocket. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. It's amazing how they can get away with this. $250. $200 for the Sega knockoff. $200 for the Nintendo knockoff. Interesting. Interesting. About 2000s when they made a switch into no development based on the games I'm looking at. Did you hear about the compilation quest to preserve the Nintendo DS library? I did not. I have not, Jones. All right, let me go back on to let's go back to Suicide Squad here. Nintendo will shut that down. They might. They might. It all depends on what it is. You're allowed to change something up to a certain point, and as long as, like what Paul said, they don't sell the games on the device. Would that be a patent issue? It all depends. It all depends. It might be years after, and you're allowed to make certain things. Hence why they're making the N64 and they're not making like the Switch knockoff or anything. This is why they're making the Genesis, the Nintendo 64, and like the Game Boy. I'm not sure how that works. Some YouTuber bought all the physical and digital games he could. Oh, is he doing it himself? Like he's trying to be his own like historian library or whatever? If so, I win. I win bet pot amongst friends. Come on, win. Well, whatever I say, Travis, doesn't make you win because I'm reading something that's not official. It's a rumor. So if you can win your money pot off a rumor, I wouldn't really hold that bet. Yeah, we're gonna read those in a bit. We're just letting them all like surface and come out, and then we'll look at a couple, or maybe a video or two. All right, let's go with the next story. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. On today's episode with 30NSG, we're gonna be talking about Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League details surface online. But before I get to this, if you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We do a live show. If you like this, please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and let's get to it. So, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League details surface online. New details of Rocksteady's Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League have been revealed on Reddit. Now, with the details being verified by subreddit moderators, the upload to R Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit and the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League details reveal that the game's price, edition, and details. Whitelist, typically such posts would be considered just a rumor. One of the subreddit moderators has given the post to legit tag as verified by users' claims. So take this with a grain of salt, what I'm about to tell you. Okay. Now, we covered Suicide Squads when it came out. I have a couple of other videos that you can watch on this channel as well. I'll put those links down below. According to the leak, the Eternal Not Final trailer of the game was shown at the trade show, revealing that 2 versions of the game will be released. A deluxe edition, apparently costing $99.99, and will grant players access to the game 3 days before the official release. In addition, players will also get a Battle Pass points and extra costumes. The Day 1 edition, on the other hand, will cost $69.99 and grant players extra costumes. Okay, details on this game itself include, real-time weather stated in a behind-the-scenes trailer, a day and night cycle stated behind-the-scenes trailer. Metropolis is twice the size of Gotham in Arkham Knight. Rocksteady is working on 1 year extra content. New characters and missions were mentioned. They stated clearly that you can play games co-op online or play it solo and switch between the 4 different characters. So that's good, right? So it seems like they got rid of always online. So that's an applause there for them. The trailer makes point that the players should play how they want to. Make points that is also each character's distinct traversal and distinct combat. Deadshot is gunplay and others are more melee focused. Have no details on microtransactions or XP or anything games as service. At the time of writing this, Insider Gamer could not independently verify the leak details, and earlier this year, the game was pushed back to 2024 release. So, this is interesting, if true, right? If it is true, that was one of the things that we said on this when they delayed it. I went, oh, maybe they're working on the online stuff to get them always offline, so you don't have to be online. Now, it does look like they're bringing more content in. So, this seems exactly par for course, folks. Par for course. It seems exactly like Marvel's Avengers. Okay? It seems like Marvel's Avengers. The 2 things I've noticed in that little blurb that's rumored, again, let me clarify, it's rumored, is that you could play offline with 3 other NPCs, okay? Or you could play online, and 2, King Shark is no longer a guy with a gun running around. He actually is melee. And Harley Quinn is gun and melee. And Boomerang is probably not using guns. He's using his abilities and whatnot. And Deadshot is a person that uses guns. So this is one of the things that people were talking about, right? That they're like, why are all these characters using guns? Which seems like a real easy fix, but now they're probably going back and working on what the game actually is. Because if the game was what we saw what it was, which was what it looked like, was it was supposed to be an online, like Marvel's Avengers, where all the stuff that you get didn't really do anything to your cosmetics. They were just selling cosmetics, but you're going to be grinding gear. And that everyone shot guns. Everyone shot guns across the thing, and it looked kind of weird. That was one of the biggest complaints. They're like, I don't want to use guns with every character. And now it looks like they've fundamentally changed that, and they fundamentally changed that it doesn't need to be online all the time. Now, because of the fundamental stuff, let's just say the game before was all guns, and you're upgrading guns and guns and guns. Well, now, are they going back and taking the guns out, and now you get a different baseball bat for Harley Quinn, and maybe a hammer for Harley Quinn, and maybe different knives or different stuff? Are you putting stuff on King Shark to make him more stronger, or is he strong to begin with, right? Like, how does this work now? Are we getting the same thing that we got with Hulk, where he's got like a spinal cord attachment and like, gloves to make his bones stronger? Is this the type of stuff they're doing in Suicide Squad? We don't know. One part is that I do feel like this is a good change, if true, that they did change this for the better for the guns. Not everyone is a gun fanatic now. Everyone's either melee or guns. And also that you don't have to play online. That was the biggest thing. If it's always online, microtransaction debacle, then this is bad. But I think they could save this. I think they could save this. If this is the changes they made so far that we know of that leaked, okay, then what other changes did they make for the game? Maybe you're not always just shooting the purple dots on the vehicles or the bad guys or whatnot. Hopefully they go back and change enough to give this game some hype. Now, I do believe we're going to see some trailer within the next month of November because it is a WB game. And what WB did with Hogwarts Legacy is that when it got delayed early last year, they kind of said that we're not releasing anything. And then in November, they made the big announcement. And then every month after that, they gave like a deep dive into it leading up to the launch in February. I think we see the same thing along the lines of this. I don't know the actual release date. It got pushed back to 2024. But I do believe we get something in November. Then we'll see something at the Video Game Awards show in December. Then we'll get something in January. And then it'll either release in February or March, in my opinion. But who knows? These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Can they really chop a game up within 12 months and fix it? I don't know. It's not about, remember, Paul, it's not about if the game comes out and it's all together. Battlefield 2042, 2 years later, it's fixed. Cyberpunk 2077, 3 years later, it's fixed. No Man's Sky, 2 years later, they fixed it, and then it's been getting better and better over the years. Yeah, Crowded, we just talked about it. right? Like, all these games that come out, and they fix them over time, and it's a sad state. That's where I don't like. I don't like that games come out broke, buggy, unfinished. People buy them for their full price, and they're like, well, I had fun. And that's not the point. The point is the games are coming out broke, buggy, and unfinished, and it takes them 12 to 18 to 24 months to fix it. I'll probably end up playing it with friends, but only because I enjoy playing most anything with friends. So I'll have to wait to see, because we saw thus far it's inspired confidence. Yeah, they're going to have to remarket it, resell it to us, because right now we still have the pictures in our head of what it was. So hearing this stuff, it's like, well, what's it going to be? I'm getting massive vibes of Marvel's Avengers. Massive vibes. You have more games fail than make it when broke. Yes and no. Yes and no. Right? I played Dark Souls with Rogue build, which is very dangerous, close melee. Hogwarts was great. Yeah, Hogwarts was fantastic. No way they rebuild a game that size in 10 months. Gonna suck hard. I think what they could do, Lurker, here's what I think they might have done. I think they had the game one way while they were developing it, and then they shifted to make it what it was that we saw. And then they had to go back and remove what we saw and go back to what they originally had. I think that's what happened. I have no proof of that, but it just seems odd. Though, if it is offline now, it does not really matter if the servers go off. Right. Which, people that go, you know what? I just want to play a DC game. I just want to play these characters. And if they close the server down in a year or two, then it doesn't really matter, because then we'll still be able to play it, right? I mean, let's be honest. This is a Game Pass game, right? This is a PlayStation Plus. This is a Game Pass game. This is make the money when it comes out, wait a couple of months, maybe a year, and then it'll be on Game Pass / Now, we do have that leak piece of paper that said they were going to pay $250 million to get Suicide Squads on Game Pass. So this could come out on Game Pass day and date. Video Game Award says December 3rd, 7th. So you think the game coming was OG before the microtransactions? So do you think the game coming was the OG before the microtransactions? I kind of think they are, because the game was supposed to come out. You got to remember, this game was actually supposed to come out when Marvel's Avengers. It was supposed to come out in 2020, 2021, Suicide Squad was. Then it got delayed, and we heard nothing of it. Then it came out in 2023 saying it was supposed to come out in 2023. Like in 2022, it said it was coming out in 2023, and then it got delayed now to 2024. So that's plausible, Lurker, that what they had, they got delayed to change it to what they showed, to then now take the 10 months to change it back to what it was before, right? Before they changed it. It's like connect the dots. Fail is a word. These games aren't failing if they rack in the cash day one. And that's 100% correct, Jones, right? And this is why they take these games and they'll fix it over the next 12 to 18 months. And if it still makes the cash, if a game comes out, let's say this is the scenario, right? Let's say this is the scenario. Suicide Squad comes out. It's on Game Pass day and date. They get paid $200 million, $250 million from Xbox. Okay? That's the game right there. That's all the money back for the development of the game right there. Then they have microtransactions, and then they sell the game. So let's say they sell 500,000 copies to 1,000,000 copies on top of that. That's bonus on top of that, right? And now they have microtransactions, right? And then they fix it over time. What about the King Shark Bite Me edition? Is that a thing? If not, is it the same thing as the Redfall Bite Me edition? If they make it back into the Avengers was when in the big trouble, I think they kind of made it into Avengers now. Because they had the guns before Stealth, it seemed like everyone was just leveling guns. But now it seems like they got rid of the guns, and now people that are melee, but now you're going to be grabbing a better bat or a better hammer. So I don't think they've changed it. And then the armor, I think they still have the same thing. How does King Shark get more powerful? How does Harley Quinn get more powerful? Are they putting armor on? Does that change the look? No. They're selling microtransactions, right? Cut it in offline mode at one point. It was planned, but then they ditched it and then put it back in. Is Pete Hines retiring? I don't know. Is he? Is that a news story that just broke? Well, let's see. It wouldn't take very long to just scroll down and look on Twitter. Bethesda veteran. Here we go. Bethesda veteran Pete Hines to retire after 24 years following Starfield's launch. Bethesda's head of publishing, Pete Hines, has announced that he has retired from Bethesda after 24 years. He mentioned that with the launch of Starfield in September, the timing felt right. Quote, "This is certainly not a goodbye by any means. My love for Bethesda and the people has never wavered, and I will never stop being a part of the incredible community we have grown," Hines said in a statement. "Thank you for the hundreds and thousands of fans who've gotten us to meet to talk over the last 24 years. Your energy, creativity, support has been such a big part of my journey. I look forward to experiencing the next part of my adventure alongside you." Additionally, Bethesda sent out his own statement in form of joking doctor's note, and the head doctor's gratitude of Bethesda's prescribing him to treatments such as game time, fostering puppies, card collecting, and hanging out with friends. Hines has also been in Bethesda for quite a while and spoken about a variety of games and topics throughout his career. He spoke about the Prey 2 was canceled, Skyrim's paid mods controversy, how the upcoming Indiana Jones game is Microsoft's most exclusive, and how Starfield really gets going after the main quest is finished. Hines also isn't the only high-profile executive to leave the company with this year. Last month, Donald Mustard and Epic Games announced his retirement after having led an incredible popular Fortnite. So, here we go. Oh no. Oh no, does this mean Bethesda's done? But Bethesda wasn't he wasn't a developer or anything, right? He was a community manager and then became the head. He was the marketing guy, right? Like he went out and showed his face and did all this stuff. 24 years, man. 24 years. That's a long time to work for a company, right? If he started with them and he was like 20, he's 44, right? And he didn't start with them. Nope. But it does mean he was pushed out. How would this mean he was pushed out, Travis? I know you're joking about that. At least I hope you're joking about that because there would be no reason for him to get pushed out. You are joking or you are serious? I mean, 24 years. How old is Pete Hines? 54? Yeah. He was 30 when he got the job with them. Yeah, I mean, think about all the shit he has to deal with, right? He's the guy literally on the front lines. Every time he says something, it gets blown out of proportion. He gets shit on. I mean, that's his job. That's what he did. Didn't some emails come out to the public that Bethesda didn't care for or no? Care about what, Kyle? I mean, he could have a vocalization of maybe he doesn't want to be with, maybe he doesn't agree with that he got bought out by Microsoft. And Bethesda got bought out 2 years ago, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to stay until Starfield gets launched, until it's done, and then I'm gone. I would actually, I respect that, right? At least, and if we're making up a world in our head that he had problems with Microsoft, that he stuck it out until Starfield was done. I don't know, Kyle, because we never cover anything about Pete Hines being, not saying it didn't happen. I just didn't cover it. Him saying that he wasn't happy with the company anymore or along those lines. I mean, 100%. Let's see. Everyone's just reporting on that he's leaving. Bethesda boss unhappy with Xbox exclusivity. Let's see. Here, during a June 27th, 2023, Bethesda boss Pete Hines isn't happy with Microsoft is forcing the studio's game to skip the PlayStation 5. According to internal emails unsealed during the ongoing Microsoft investigation, Activision and FTC court proceedings, Hines quizzed Xbox boss Phil Spencer about the announcement of Call of Duty remaining on multi-platform following Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard and wanted to know why Bethesda games were treated differently. Hines first emailed ZeniMax with Bethesda's leadership, including Todd Howard, snipped the Microsoft announcement regarding the Activision Blizzard merge of Call of Duty multi-platform status. Hines seemed annoyed that he wanted to know why Bethesda wasn't giving the heads up about the deal and why Activision is handling the opposite of how Bethesda is being handled. I mean, to be honest, one costs $70 billion and one costs $7 billion. That's why Hines. Okay, so this is by Pete Hines. I'm confused. Is this below not to be opposite of what we were just told to you with our own titles? What's the difference? Emphasizes in bold is mine from the blog post yesterday. First game commentaries have asked whether can you continue to make popular content like Activision Call of Duty available for competing platforms like Sony and PlayStation. And obvious concerns is that Microsoft could make this title available exclusive to Xbox consoles, undermining opportunities for Sony PlayStation users. To be clear, Microsoft will continue to make Call of Duty and other popular Activision Blizzard titles available and PlayStation through the term of exciting agreement with Activision. And we have committed to Sony that we also make the available for PlayStation beyond existing agreement into the future, and Sony fans can continue to enjoy the games that they love. We also interested in taking similar steps to support Nintendo's successful platform. We believe this is the right thing to do in the industry for gamers and not for the business. Did anyone at the Xbox think about giving us a heads up on this? Todd's going to DICE in a couple of weeks. You don't think the Journal might find him to press him on why Below is okay for COD and any Activision Blizzard game, but not okay for Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield or every future interview he does? And that's a good point. But you know what? Business is business, right? Business puts feelings aside. Right? It is double standards. 100%. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Call of Duty makes its billions of dollars because it's a microtransaction filled game. PvP, they make that one game makes more money than multiple games do for other games. Okay? But business is business. If you know, one person wants to go out of the house, here, let's do this. I'll do an analogy. There's two siblings. The parents, this is not business, this is just parenting, right? One kid is an angel. One kid is the devil. Okay? The one kid that's an angel, he's got his parents' trust. They're like, yeah, you can go outside. No problem. But every time the other kid goes out, he gets in trouble all the time. Even though the angel kid goes out and does stuff, he doesn't get caught and doesn't act like a fool. He's allowed to go and do his own thing. But the one that acts a fool all the time, okay, that's the problem, right? So now let's take this analogy and move it back into what is happening with Activision and Bethesda. Well, Activision comes out with games, and hate or not, Call of Duty, if you don't play it or you do, it comes out and it works for the most part. And if it doesn't work, it's also making billions of dollars. Bethesda, when it doesn't work, has the Bethesda charm. And the last game that you put out was Fallout 76. And the game that you put out after that was Redfall. And now you have Starfield, and Starfield is the best game that Bethesda released, but you also had other problems with other Bethesda titles. So, again, business is not fair. And I can understand that if Pete Hines, again, was like, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to work for Phil. I don't want to work for Microsoft. Or he's just like, you know what? I've been with the company for 24 years. I've moved up to the company. I just don't like this, and he's going to move somewhere else. Maybe Phil, or I'm sorry, maybe Pete Hines. Maybe he goes to Sony. Who knows? That'd be pretty funny, right? Lots of heads leaving businesses, huh? Lots of heads leaving businesses. Bad business when you're minimizing maximum profit. But Kyle, they're looking to take that game just like, I mean, take the same thing, Kyle, right? You're minimizing the maximum profit. So then why is Spider-Man only on PlayStation? Why is God of War only on PlayStation? Why is Horizon Forbidden West only on PlayStation? They're not maximizing their profit. Even though they have 40 million units out there, right? They could sell a lot more if they release them simultaneously across PC, Xbox, Nintendo. It's different with PlayStation, though, Paul. They're having a spending mentality. The deal in both, as I'm playing games on alpha and betas, and put specific definitions on them. If the game is an ARPG FPS, then it could be better feedback. Exclusives shouldn't exist. Games should be everywhere, honestly. But that's not the world we live in, right? Yeah, but they passed on it because they didn't want to make the game at the time, right? They could have still made Insomniac, right? When Sony got it and said, we'll take it and give it to Insomniac. Insomniac wasn't owned at the time, Travis, by Sony. They bought them after the fact. Sony could have easily made that game for all platforms, but they chose to buy Insomniac and then make it exclusive. Sarge says they leave it because you have to be young enough to go through the process again, and they're not. They collect their bonuses and move on. Either way, it was a mistake in passing on it. You know what's funny, Travis? If we could go back in a time machine, you would hate if Xbox had Sony because you would be on the other shoe saying that, well, Xbox has placed or has Spider-Man and they fucked it up. Let's be honest. And you would be on the other side saying that it's stupid that they have Spider-Man exclusively for Xbox. Oh no, if Xbox had Spider-Man, I would have bought it. Xbox to play it. Sure. It's easy to say that now. Right, Mo. They had 5 studios and they had no studios able to do it, so they had to turn it down. I think the gamers won with Xbox passing on Spider-Man. I feel they wouldn't have gotten the same game. Right. It's easy to look back at it now, Stealth, and hindsight. You know what I mean? If Xbox makes some exclusives, I buy, I'll buy it. Problem is, for what they don't have, hoping Fable changes it. You've said in the past, Travis, that you would never buy an Xbox, that you hate Xbox. You've said these things. Right? It's easy to say that they wouldn't make it. Before, would you have thought, let's be honest, before Insomniac made Spider-Man, right? Before they made Spider-Man, would you have been like, oh, Insomniac? If I had to pick a studio, it would be Insomniac to make a Spider-Man game. No. I doubt any of us would have said that. Now, you're like, any game that Insomniac wants to make, you give to them. Yeah, Activision Spider-Man games. There was plenty of Spider-Man games that were on all platforms before. Mike, wouldn't it be ironic if Tinfoil Hat Time Spider-Man gets released on the Activision Spider-Man release the same day as Spider-Man 2? Mo, you listened to, what's it called? Lord's podcast, didn't you? When King said that, I was laughing my ass off. I go, that would be hilarious if they did that. I was driving back last night. I was driving in the car last night, and I had my earbud in, listening to the podcast because my family was like listening to other stuff. And when he said that, I started laughing out loud. I was like, "Oh my god," because it wouldn't really do anything, right? But can you imagine? Can you imagine that it doesn't take anything away from Spider-Man? It doesn't, right? Because Spider-Man is going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. But can you imagine the balls on Phil Spencer to be all of a sudden to drop all Spider-Man games on the day on Game Pass? I would laugh my ass off. The rumors that Activision will be adding first batch of Call of Duty series in Game Pass tomorrow. Yeah, there's a lot of people want to see it. Look, I think they're going to do it sooner rather than later. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I said in like November they would announce some stuff and drop some stuff. You got to look at it. Microsoft is the ones that fix the old Call of Duty games on their on Game Pass right now, like the old games. It wasn't Activision. The Activision Spider-Man games don't stack up though. They're awful. The older, that's not true. Rose, there was the ones, I forget what year it was. There was some really good Spider-Man games. No, obviously there's more shitty ones than good ones, but there were some good ones before the one came out for PlayStation. Exactly, Jones. Jez reporting saying that there would be some sort of immediate drops too. Yeah, it makes sense, right? But as I said on Friday on Lono's podcast, I don't think they just drop an entire like catalog on the exact date. You know what I mean? Because then you're saturating it. You gotta slowly kind of fill them in. Breaking news: Star Wars Outlaws confirmed to be a must, and will hopefully have 0 Jedi in it. I don't think it'll. I think it will have Jedi in it. Just you won't be playing a Jedi. They dropped info on the guilds on Sea of Thieves. Oh, is that coming out? Season 10 starts this week, doesn't it? Right, 11. That would take 15 months if they dropped one Call of Duty a month. You know what I mean? Outlaws takes place between Empire, New Hope and Empire, or is it Empire and Return? I think it's Empire. Shit. Yeah. It's between Empire and Return. Let's be honest here. First phone call Phil made after leaving the board meeting was Jim. If you think they didn't know what each other was doing, is insane. Look, these companies, the market works together, right? It's no coincidence, right? It's no coincidence that all of a sudden cloud's getting pushed, right? And all of a sudden now physical media is being rumored that it's leaving, right? That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. If you think it's a coincidence, right? Come on. Isn't it just weird timing? 2 years ago, Sony makes a deal with Microsoft for Azura. Since that time, Sony also works on their own cloud as well. Jim Ryan talks about how we're using Azura, but we're using it in a different way than others would use it, right? And then the whole FTC comes out. They're talking about cloud gaming. Everyone thought it was about Call of Duty. They talk about cloud gaming and how people need to make a position for it and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, now that it's all said and done, before it wraps up, before Activision Blizzard becomes Microsoft, Sony goes, "Oh, by the way, here's our streaming service." Right? Like, get out of here. Right? That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Probably not stealth, but also could see that leveraging Mandalorian underground cult somehow. I mean, look, right now it takes place between episodes 5 and 6, and if you watch Ahsoka, we know there's like 10 fucking Jedi in the world now. Okay, so anything's possible. If there's 10 out there now, how do we know there's not any more? Right? For quality, I'm gladly pay for quality. Yeah, Outlaw looks great. I'm sold on Outlaw so far. According to the armor, there are pockets of the Mandalorians hiding in outer rings. Outlaws could use that if they were smart. That's the big key. That one last word that you put there, smart. That's the big key. Disney is not smart. They've literally fucked up the entire canon of stuff because of these shows that they've put out. Sony has been buying cloud gaming companies for 10 plus years to slow its growth down, but let's not go into that. I mean, we can go into that, Paul, but I've said that the cloud gaming has been around for Sony since 2014. I brought that up in my past shows, right? I said this is not new for them, but I also don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden it comes out after all of this. The PS1 Spider-Man game is still the best one I made, and yet to be beat in my opinion. Which one was that? Was that that was the movie adaptation one, right? Right, Kyla? You're talking about this one. You're talking about this one. Man, look how bad the graphics were back then, but those were amazing back then. It's amazing back then. Yeah, boss fight. I think the one I like was on... There's been so many. When you type in... It's not what I typed in. It's not what I typed in. Yeah. When I played these, this is from the PlayStation 2, right? I love these Spider-Man. The movie adaptations of this was fantastic. This is probably one of the better, based off movie type stuff games, in my opinion. Like, look at the graphics of these things. I believe Activision made this one, if I'm not mistaken. I want to see him like swinging through the city. Oh, there's this one's too. This is Ultimate Spider-Man. This was another good one. Like, you can't tell me the swinging here was bad. The swinging there was great. Now, obviously, looking back compared to the one we have now, right? They got the swinging correctly with other ones. Here's Spider-Man 3. Like, when you played this game, you weren't like, this is trash. You're like, man, this is great. Here's Friend and Foe. And I'm gonna say this, and maybe this is being a hot take, but I think Insomniac would have to look at all this stuff and go, look, this is the move that he did over there. Let's capture that. Let's get this going, right? I've said this all the time in video game development. It's like if you're gonna make a game, and all the games that came before you, if you don't use them to make your game better, and they think they did. I think they took stuff from Batman Arkham to make the fighting just as good, right? The swinging mechanics, the way Spider-Man acts. Insomniac did a fantastic job. In no way, shape, or form am I going to tell you that Insomniac's Spider-Man is a shit game, because it's not. But you can't say that these games are shit. These games, if there wasn't these games, you wouldn't have the game that you have. PSA, yes. I'm one of those people. 10 weeks from now is Christmas Day. Jesus Christ, Stealth. Is it really? Hey, here. This is the Web of Shadows. Right? Look at the graphics for Webs of Shadows. This is 2008. Come on, bro. It's good stuff. You think there's going to be a match like this happening in Insomniac's game? I never understood the people's love for Spider-Man. He's always thought he was the weakest super. The reason that Spider-Man Farmer is so beloved is because he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right? It's because we can relate to him, right? That's why. It's like in every average boy, he's not this like super being that he looks like Superman, or if he looks like anybody else, right? Like that's why people like Peter Parker. That's why they like Spider-Man. Like he's super strong, and yet he's a kid. He's a kid. And he's got superpowers. Kids are reading like comic books like, I'm a kid. I go through struggles like this, right? Like, what are we talking about? Do you know why he's got like 1,000 video games and Superman doesn't? Is because he's more realistic than Superman. Exactly, Rose. Exactly, Mo. Right? And you don't need to be related to the person because of skin color, because that's what they want you to think, right? It's about the problems that the superhero is going through and how he solves them, and it's more relatable. And this is why Spider-Man's such a popular character. All right, let's go over some Spider-Man. Let me get. Do we have a review up? Is there a review? Skillup's got a review. I like his. Does ACG have a review? I like his too. Because they're not yeah, there it is. Let's listen. All right. We're gonna watch ACG's review. I like his reviews. He's pretty like down the middle. He's not going to give you some like trash stuff. But before I do that, make sure you give it a like, right? I'm going to put this in my review down here. It's going to be in the description down below. So it'll be in the description down below as well. Okay. I'm assuming he doesn't do spoilers. And I'll give a warning. If you guys don't want to know anything about it, then you guys have a good day. We'll probably be talking about this for the next, his review is 20 minutes. So we'll probably talk about it for the rest of the show. So if you guys don't want to know anything, then I would say have a good day. See you guys tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for some gameplay. I don't know what we're playing yet, but we'll be playing some games tonight at 8 p.m. Other than that, we're going to start watching ACG's review, and then we'll look at some scores and whatnot. All right? So that's what we're doing. All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker. I'm 25 years old. I have a bachelor's degree in biophysics, and a while back I was bitten by a radioactive spider and got superpowers.
He's 25 in this? He doesn't look 25.
I also got bitten by a radioactive spider that gave me superpowers. I learned how to be a Spider-Man from the OG.
Spider-Man, from comics to movies, TV shows to anime to video games, has always had a different feeling to me than most superheroes.
Later, Power Boss.
Rocky says it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Spider-Man's always felt like it was an endurance game. Just how many times can he keep getting up? How many times can things fail? Can friends be taken away? How many parts can someone carve of themselves before what's left is just a dark pantomime? Where the question finally comes up, is Spider-Man just wearing a Peter Parker suit? That's Spider-Man 2, triumphs tragedy, post-teen real life in, and a healthy dose of reality, fighting the spider back. Spider-Man 2 offers the ability to play both Miles and Peter, both with chips on their shoulders because they can't celebrate their successes with almost anyone other than the other people who can't tell anybody about anything. So they kick the living shit out of everybody, like they want to see if it's possible to launch a human into space by frustrated spin kicks and uppercuts alone, and they swing around. The core story of Spider-Man 2 takes a bit to actually start, but the ultimate plot point is that Kraven the Hunter has come to New York, as we've seen in the trailers. It's easy for somebody unaware to look at Kraven and see every bit the reject WWE wrestler, fresh from failing their first debut. But this is a dude who freebases a questionable jungle serum made of mysterious plants and probably some poisons here and there. Spider-Man 2 is many months past the original game, but it continues with the tradition, one of the core facets of Spider-Man's consistent storytelling and the themes pretty much right away. And that's responsibility, because superheroes, and even more so, Spider-Men, don't kill their enemies, and local prisons hold people about as well as a building just made of doors. Why not keep repeating what you did wrong if the worst result is a double ass-kicking from two kids dressed in ninja suits, only to come out a week later? That's not a sentence. That's a good paragraph of anecdotes to tell your criminal friends when you get out. A great deal of Spider-Man 2 is about consequences of actions, both yours and others, and choices, both good and bad, slowly filtered out through the events across many months. Despite all the work prior, there's a feeling in this game that the Spider-Man or Spider-Men have... Miles and Peter themselves are at this equilibrium.
Did he just skip there? Hold on a second.
Man or Spider-Men have... Prior, there's a feeling in this game that the Spider-Man or Spider-Men have... Miles and Peter themselves are at this equilibrium, this consistent point that I think really does help the story in Spider-Man 2, especially when you see both of these guys having to team up and where they are in their personal lives. But then the opposite of that is Spider-Man when it's at its best on the ground. Peter and Miles balancing the consistent edge of personal relationships, as well as the added weight of criminals and supervillains always trying to upset the balance. And the entire game is about that. Finding study materials in a lab or reading the whiteboard's content.
Prosy's he's behind the stream. He's answering questions that I'm talking about from like an hour ago. He'll catch up.
To have an almost control-like feel to the game, diving deeper into a mystery with interactive objects, looking around and actually studying the environment adds information that an inquisitive player may find about the story or about what's going on top of the already established hot points that game developers want to drive home. A topping of all that information that fills out the story's theme and broader points, and really does let the dichotomy of Spider-Man versus these teens breathe. But obviously the combat is hyper important, and Spider-Man builds on everything the other two games have delivered. Dodges, split-second timing before punch.
I just want to make it clear. I've always said this, right? You make a game, and then the next game's got to just be a little bit better, right? And the next game comes out, it's got to be a little bit better. And it sounds like that's what they've done.
Punches, kicks, or missiles trying to splat the spider like an explosive fly swatter, web slinging enemies to the walls of the ground floors, cars, trucks, vans, and each other, leaving them hot and exhausted as a sticky mess. Parry lets you perfectly slip out of the attack and do extra damage to enemies, and many times is the only way to get past some of the larger semi-bosses. Spider-Man has always been about eight-legged katas, childhood martial arts masters with a black belt. And
that dude right there, if you guys want to watch this uninterrupted, you can go watch ACG's stream. Look at the slam on this dude.
Spider-Man has always
Right
been
here.
about
This dude's back is broke. He's paralyzed.
eight-legged katas, childhood martial
Right
arts
there.
masters with a black
He is-
belt and black whip.
He is paralyzed. Spider-Man doesn't kill people, but that dude's close to death.
Widow and Thunder kicking their way, all Bindi style through leagues of enemies. Spider-Man 2 delivers exactly what you expect in that regard. However, it also does up the ante. When leaping into random situations in the game world, and often repeated, but always fun, are the team-ups. Tag teaming 2-bit thugs with Peter and Miles together feels incredible. And that's when special moves that you bought in the skill section, I'll talk about here in a second, is some of the best in gaming. Yeah, I know a lot of people look at Batman and say the same. That's up to you. I'd like to know what you think in the comments. For me, while I love Batman and leaving a line of broken down bruisers and pumped up pickpockets strewn behind me with Batman making little hints that, oh no, they're not actually dead, even though they all look dead. Spider-Man's combat, that thrilling ability to encapsulate the outer movement systems like perch hopping and bounding, web slinging, but putting them directly into the combat feels incredible. Stealth is also again integrated into all this, with you able to perch and then wrap up an enemy in webbing and move off without enemies knowing. Here in Spider-Man 2, each of these bad boys is carrying a bit more oomph than they did prior. Well, Miles still has about the same. He's got that electrical power and can absolutely devastate people with some of his attacks. But as the story progresses and Peter gets symbiote powers, as we've seen in the trailer, you now have these two on a similar level, not only relationship-wise outside of Spider-Man, but actually on their power level itself, an evening of that sheer heroic reckoning that they can unleash.
Dude, the movements, they look so good. So good.
And it helps it feel like you're never really missing out, regardless of which hero you can choose, because many times you can switch between either one when you want to within the city. The combat is responsive, it's quick to changes, and more importantly, despite new additions, a variety of which unleash insane amounts of power into spots, it never once loses the feeling of two kids just sort of happy to kick the crap out of a bunch of bad guys. To apply those skills and powers, Miles and Peter both have respective trees, reflecting their given powers, as well as a third totally separate tree for them combined as a duo. But be aware the combined skill tree isn't really just for moves for them as a team. It's got a couple bits of that. It's actually more of a generic upgrade path, lending a really nice synthesis to upgrading both of them with basic moves while leaving their actual respective skill trees for solely spending points on them separated. And they deserve a kudos for that, because it makes the entire upgrade process a
I hope the swing suit doesn't take over swinging it, but it does look like it's going to.
little bit cleaner, even though at first it can be a tiny bit confusing. Obviously, you also still have spider tech of all kinds you can upgrade and carry around as well. However, Spider-Man, for a dude with a dexterity of like +8 bonus for D&D, he can't really climb through tunnels without running into crap or hanging up on edges, something that happened less in the original game than it does in the sequel. It was noticeably crunchier moving in these contained spaces than I can remember in the prior games. Maybe it's just that there's more of them than in the prior games, but it is something I actually noticed. Something else I noticed is enemy variety, something that the original Spider-Man had a couple issues with, and that sort of sticks around through this. While Spider-Man 2 expands the library of available enemies, it does feel that, a little bit like the first game, these groups are made up of just normal enemies, flying ones, giant ones that have to be countered or slipped behind. There's a familiarity here, especially at first. And in some ways, the world's reaction to both of these ultimately noticeable power creeps going on, it just takes a while. And even on the harder difficulties, it can feel a little bit easy. It's not like you're just fighting off roving bands of rampaging babies, but even on harder difficulties, when Spider-Man swings into a room, it's hard not for a moment to take pause and think of the mortality of the enemies you're fighting. While I expected combat to feel different, it's the extension out to both heroes between the combat and their more human moments that actually drove the narrative of the game forward. And Insomniac needed to do this because each Spider-Man is different in the comic lines, the fictions, where they are in their different lifestyles. And here we see Peter without Aunt May, Uncle Ben, or Doc Ock, accidentally offered and then tantalizingly tempted to test powers that he was augmented with. And this results in a character arc that is darker and more reflective of his attempting to drive forward with those ideas and idolation of these different mentors, but without any overarching supervision from anybody. The most impressive part here, this unique style of storytelling has a vague shadow of Doc Ock's fall, actually reflected in Peter's story. That's all I'll say there. And that's the crux of many of Peter's decisions within the game. The risk of his use of power to ultimately corrupt the original reason for him getting them in the first place. Spider-Man's always been about winning as the underdog, that scrappy superhero that wins because his superpowers are augmented by the flexibility of these young, incredible, bright minds. But they're never perfect. For example, Peter is a total, utter slob. While he's got his personal life somewhat fixed, it's Miles, on the other hand, who has everything really sort of going his way. He has his own issues that directly correlate with events that happened in his own spin-off game, but I actually...
The graphics there don't look super great. It looks like the last version.
really
Did it get downscaled?
liked where he was here. It's also easy to think of a superhero game coming down to just the mechanics, but Spider-Man with a hefty number of big-named bad guys as well as family and friend moments in the cutscenes, Insomniac had to weigh this carefully, and I really did like the result that we got. It makes it for a more accessible Spider-Man game to me. Also, speaking of accessibility, the options here, best in the business. First, it blocks out hearing, motion sensitivity, motor skills, vision into their own one-off presets, but you can also dive in, simplify puzzles, swing assistance for corners, just swinging itself, adding continuous dodge, changing the way aim mode works, adding combos to one button, and then adjusting camera shake, motion blur, chromatics, and film grain. Then it leaps into audio assist from narrated to voice boost, as well as frequency cutoffs for people with hearing ranges that might be specifically out of the range of some of the effects, as well as a bevy of subtitle options. Lastly, it handles contrast and colorblind options well with shader changes and adjustments.
Yeah, that's not me making a dig at the game, Okuda. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you can see it in some cutscenes that he's showing. It looks fine, and then other ones it looks like it's downsized or downscaled.
Heroes, allies, NPCs, enemies of all kinds, as well as items, story, impactful location shaders, and even spider sense. That means for a modern superhero game, it's got almost everything other than an auto combat setting, though at the settings on their highest here, it feels a little bit like that. It's an excellent display of one of the more accessible superheroes offering one of the more accessible packages for entry. But I want to bring up something unrelated, but a little bit connected. Spider-Man 2 uses the DualSense for everything. Sounds, vibrations, alerts. The controller's more active than Spider-Man most of the time, ringing and shaking and vibrating and feeding back to the player consistently. However, it absolutely eats PlayStation 5 controller batteries. 2 controllers, both bought at different times, saw low battery warnings before I've ever seen it in another game. You can, of course, turn some of these off and down, and you may want to, especially if you want to extend that playtime. It was highly, highly noticeable. But I love the options and the flexibility for going in there and turning some of those up or down. Speaking of flexibility, if any company has understood that flexibility is needed to deliver excellent performance on the PlayStation 5, it's Insomniac, offering a fidelity and performance setting, with fidelity aiming for 30 FPS and a higher resolution than the performance mode, as we would expect. However, Insomniac has figured out a way to get ray tracing pretty much working in any setting that you choose. It's just the level and the detail that's placed and changed depending. Other changes, for example, in the performance mode that you will see mostly in the video is lower occasional pedestrian traffic numbers, lower detail in some of the smaller things like hair, and some details on buildings. And you also have the option for variable refresh rate and 120 hertz mode if your monitor or TV handles it. For me, the small trade-offs to run the game at 60 FPS was well worth it, especially as a good deal of the game is high detail anyway. You have some high-speed chases and a lot of combat. For taking down the robbers and escaping cars to multi-villain main battles, it just feels better at 60 FPS. It's not always the best looking PlayStation 5 title. It can be many times incredible looking, especially backed up by excellent lighting, texture work, and animation. It's easy to think just how much more can the platform deliver, but there are times where you do see some problems. Now, there is one later patch coming for this version that we've been told about, and I do expect and can see on the list that some of these are fixed, but not all of them. For example, regardless of the setting, many New Yorkers along the street suffer a pretty large step down in detail.
Okay, so I'm glad he's saying something. I was like, because it does look somewhat downscaled, but they are doing an update on the 15th. doesn't matter when I get it. The whole game will be completely revamped.
From everybody else you see. And there is some definite distance pop-in that you get during cutscene loads, as well as some flickering level of detail issues on different building spots. And a lot of the buildings seem to be a little bit more architecturally detailed, while others are actually a step down. This is probably because the city is so large in this game. But that trade-off is definitely worth it. First, the city is massively larger, but graphically the game opens up with a battle against a classic Superman foe, and it is one of the most profoundly epic battles I've ever seen in a game, utilizing an awesome hit mechanic that when you get smashed, you fly across the city, showing just how magnificently that streaming technology has come along. It is ridiculous looking the first time you get in a battle and you get hit across multiple city blocks and have to end up getting back to the enemy.
That's cool.
It's not just the speed at which it's changing the city that occurs, that opening moment that sort of makes everything crystallize in front of you when you realize, man, if that's what they got at the starting, what are they going to have at the middle or the ending? And I got to tell you, it one-ups its game almost all the
That's good to hear. That's great to hear.
time. It works. It's well beyond.
I've always liked the I like both games. I played Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I loved both the games. Stories were fantastic. The boss fights going through were different, and it felt good. What he's saying, I mean, obviously I'm not going to know for a really long time, but what he's saying there from the description that he said of the first boss opening, like when you do the opening of Kingpin, and then when you do later, cool.
On anything I think I can see in most of the movies.
Pause where? You want me to pause? What, in the flying of the thing? You're delayed when you say pause. Pop in 75 trash. Where'd you want me to pause? Spider-Man on top of the building.
It is ridiculous looking the first time you get in a battle and you get hit across multiple city blocks and have to end up getting back to the enemy. It's not just the speed at which it's changing the city that occurs, that opening moment that sort of makes everything crystallize in front of you when you realize, man, if that's what they got at the
right here, this part. I mean, him there looks amazing. Right? But you look at the stuff around him. The texture on him is fantastic.
starting, what are they going to have at the middle or the ending? And I got to tell you, it one-ups its game almost all the time. It works. It's well beyond.
I mean, your eyes shouldn't go to anywhere else. Like when you're telling a story in a cutscene, like you should be focused on him, and he looks like phenomenal. Like look at the lighting off of him.
On anything I think I can see in most of the movies.
Okay, so here's what I'm noticing. It looks nice, but the background looks weird. The background looks weird when you're doing. It's just like movie making or film. You want the background to go blurry, or even if it's pixelated in a video game, right? You're focusing on the character during this. You're not focusing on the textures and stuff in the background. If you're focusing on anything but Spider-Man when you play this game, like in this cutscene, then they're doing a really bad job keeping you engaged. You know what I mean? There's bigger problems there if that's the problem, right? Obviously, when you're looking at stuff like this and you look at the background, you can say, oh, yeah, it looks a little weird. But if I'm just
shows
playing
or otherwise, Spider-Man 2...
You're not going to look at that. The birds are supposed to be like that, right? He's talking and stuff right here during the game. You're not looking at anything else.
Has some epic battles. However, it's also the animation that nails it. You got Peter in his different animation set than Miles, meaning that even though you're using the same suits sometimes, or it can look that same way, it's different. The folding of their bodies, sort of the way that they move their angles to...
I mean, even this right here, right? I'm gonna rewind it, right? Obviously, when you look at the guys, right?
In his different animation set than Miles, meaning that even though you're using the same...
Look, when you come in, the guy you hit, he's in focus. The guy next to him is not.
Suits.
But as soon as you log into whoever you're walking in on,
the folding of the...
Look, The guy in the foreground is in focus. The guy in the background is not anymore.
Their bodies, sort of the way that they move, their angles to
Same with the guy crossing the
smash
street.
bad guys. It feels different. I can also imagine fighting one Spider-Man is like fighting an 8-cylinder engine where the piston
They're dynamically like doing stuff to focus your attention.
are replaced by fists, and it's actually 12-cylinder.
Everything's not in focus.
But fighting two of them, I can only imagine how hard that would be to make the choreography within the animation work and make sense visually to the player. But for the most part, they did it. Though, admittedly, there's a couple times where the camera
See, it changes. I'm gonna rewind a second. It changes from when it's a wide view to when you go into that whatever action mode that you're doing. I want to listen to what he has to say. So
to smash bad guys, it feels different. I can also imagine fighting one Spider-Man is like fighting an 8-cylinder engine where the pistons are replaced by fists, and it's actually 12-cylinder. But fighting two of them, I can only imagine how hard that would be to make the choreography within the animation work and make sense visually to the player. But for the most part, they did it. Though, admittedly, there's a couple times where the camera would flick into a wall, or it would just be somewhat otherwise obscured. But a game like this that draws out these large locations, I think, can fall into a big trap. But here, the space isn't wasted. Instead, there's this discrete focus on distance traveled to give you a feeling of these two people trying to save something that's just too large for them to actually do so. And that's no more better detailed than when a huge part of the game that Insomniac relishes in is the ability to switch between both heroes in many moments, many times with less than 1 to 2 seconds for transitions. It reminds you of the moment in GTA 5
cool.
when switching for the first time from Michael to Trevor, except here there's less puking into toilets or pissing, and there's more just instant action. This lets you swing around the city as each hero. Heroes that have over 65 suits between them, with most of the suits also having their own set of colors. That means you're technically looking at really more than 200 suits, because apparently 50 isn't enough and 400 is too many. The sheer choice is actually staggering. And that's something I felt pretty much throughout the entire game. How can Spider-Man 2 look this good, you may ask? I don't know. I can pixel peep later and tell you the 7 shades of special texture, flesticles.
exactly what he's doing right now. Look, let me be honest, and I'm not picking individuals out, right? If you're playing a video game and you're pausing that video game to look at the background in somewhat of it's blurry or pixelated and all this, like, you're not playing the game anymore, man. You're criticizing the game, right? Like, it doesn't matter what game it is. If you're pausing the game to look at something in the background or doing other things, I mean, get your jollies off, whatever, right? If you're a tech guy, you want to be a tech guy, it's cool. But the average goer, the average person that's just playing the game is not going to pause. Just like I made fun of when we were playing the Forza Motorsports. I'm going 188 miles an hour. I look out the side window, and the grass is doing this, right? I'm not looking at the fucking grass. I'm not looking at the trees. I'm not looking at the grass. I'm looking at the dashboard with the steering wheel and when I'm driving around, okay? And I'm like, this looks amazing, right? The people that when you start to analyze every little thing, you're playing a different game at that point.
Good, you may ask. I don't know. I can pixel peep later and tell you the 7 shades of special texture, flesticles that can cast 50 ray dumps per second on Spider-Man. But while clinical analysis is great for arguing, said once again, Spider-Man delivers a feeling.
Thank you, ACG. Thank you.
As close to being a hero in a movie or a cartoon as really anything currently possible. And a lot of that continues through the audio. Vocal work is just awesome across Spider-Man, from villains to the consistently excellent work of Yuri and Jeter as the main leads. Of course, many well-known and not so well-known voice actors as various villains across the city-wide roster of terrible people with terrific abilities. Of particular note, especially in casts this big, there really isn't that time where one particular delivery is a little off or sounds different than the rest. It's just uniformly good. And that's the same as the sound. The audio focuses on delivering a world through the senses of Spider-Man, but not becoming too numbing with input. Enemy callouts to the sound of doors slamming as new reinforcements leap out of arriving vehicles during a team-up. It's all excellent, handles surround sound very well, especially well enough to feed the gamer data regardless of the enemy's direction, helping the player even before spider senses kick in, and I used it a lot of times. Most notable for this, though, is the distance tracking and the audio and the fade-in. For example, being able to perfectly hear how close a rocket is behind you as it comes near your roost, letting you actually delay dodges until the very last moment using sound information alone during some of the largest battles is a kudo to Insomniac and their sound design. It's just very well done. And the music is the same way. This is cinematic. It's largely movie-like and orchestrated to offer that simultaneous movie experience during the peak action and hero moments, as well as some muted themes during times where the characters are facing more than most kids should have to handle. There's a synergy here, and probably always will be, between the movie's large orchestra pieces and the game's pieces. Yet there's always the ability to make your own story and interact with the game music as it fades in and out with the actions you perform, and that's profoundly more personal than hearing a specific character's main
The fire, though. Look at that. Look at that explosion.
fades in and out with the actions you perform, and that's profoundly more personal than hearing a specific
That's great.
character's
That looks fantastic.
main theme, no matter how good it is in a movie. It's crazy to be reviewing Spider-Man 2 because I remember seeing the original and questioning just how good it actually could be. It was good enough to do a Walking the Walk game creation video on it. Check out the link in the details. That actually surprised me. Then I wondered if they would be able to do the same thing with Miles, and they did. Then we saw Spider-Man 2. It's going to have 2 characters, dual stories, a bunch of different new skills, unique villain, and a city 2 times larger. There's a great deal that could have gone wrong here. Skills making no sense, the world offering less interesting activities, or just feeling too stuffed. And all of those would have impacted just how fun the game
Ron
could
says,
be.
I don't like
And that
Spider-Man,
brings us to
and I
fun
have a
factor,
PlayStation.
which
Is
is
that
always
okay?
the juice.
Yeah, that's fine.
Spider-Man 2, without a doubt, is worth buying, and there's a number of reasons why. But I want to get to some of the problems with the game that impact the fun factor and may make you actually sit back and think about this for a little bit. It won't change the overall rating, but it is something I need to bring up. Spider-Man 2 is at its weakest when you're forced into stealth situations. It is just not nearly as fun. And instead of an interlude or more palate-cleansing moment, it shows that there is a generalized clumsiness. The moves, switching around, the stealth as this other character, luckily somewhat few and far in between, but it does not help the game at all. Also, Spider-Man 2 has some other problems, and that's that the side activity structure is still, after all this time, really repetitive in its setups, regardless of a much larger moveset and different things being added. The activities feel very familiar, and while some adjustments are made, they don't hold up over a longer period of time, and more variation here would have helped, so it doesn't feel like the same 8 jackasses keep stealing the same cars.
That was my criticism with the first game and the second game. Like, I stopped going after the criminals in the city that I was bored with because I was just like, hey, I'm done with it. I only did the stuff that I had to do to unlock certain things.
Over and over again. I'd like to know if you guys felt that way in the original, and once you play this, pop back
I did.
off in the comments and tell me how you feel about Spider-Man 2 and if it improved those enough to you or if you still felt that feeling of repetition. However, to move on to the excellent parts of this game, there is something that occurred throughout the entire title. I know a game is good when my mind plays tricks on me to engage with it, with some random criminal going from nothing more than a red diamond with general information of their wrongdoings to some kind of Carrack magnet, and every single action I take is driving
Does he have a jet engine on the back of him?
me towards that confrontation because I just want to take them down. And this isn't the insane stupidity of like scores, or platinums, or achievements that overlay actually interacting with the game with Pavlov dog's kibble trails to some arbitrary completion list. This is wanting to actually interact with the game. It's feeling like the fiction pushes you into the suit of Spider-Man for a second, either Miles or Peter, and you find yourself engaging with it. Is it because the combat's good? Sure, but it's also something else. It's that in the best of games, interaction is never really driven by just the one facet, but by the combination. And just like Peter is wicked on his own as Spider-Man, then you have Miles, and it's even better. And
All right, it says pros, huge story moments, awesome duo dynamic, graphics, audio, music, cons, some glitches, repetitive side acts, and some clumsy side moments.
that's where this game works. It's because I felt like I was actually doing good, like Miles and Peter were celebrating with everybody afterwards. Sure, you get points for taking down enemies, but many times I found myself not really remembering the scores I was getting. I was just having a blast taking the bad guys down for trying to rob somebody. Basically role-playing. While Spider-Man's always had some of the best sayings, as cheesy as they are, they work because inherently they're more ground level in their meaning, even if they consistently drive an almost impossible goal. For Spider-Man 2, when I wrapped up, one quote from the fiction hit me pretty hard. If you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. I can say this, pretty much as I expected. Despite problems, when I was done with Spider-Man 2, I actually said out loud, God damn, man. If you're interested in more Spider-Man, check out my Spider-Man Walking the Walk game development videos. Got some Alan Wake coming your way as well as many more. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
That was a nice review, and it didn't spoil anything for anybody, right? It didn't spoil anything for anybody. I like I said, I always like his reviews because he just tells you what the game is. He doesn't throw. If you notice, through the entire 20-minute long video, make sure you guys hit that like button for him as well. The link is in the description down below for ACG. He never once said, like, his own feelings about the game. He literally just talks about, like, what the game is, how the game is, how it feels. This is what it is. He wasn't like, I didn't really like this. Like, he said certain things. He's like, it was a little repetitive, but let me know what you guys think, right? But he doesn't put that in his overall, like, oh, it's terrible, right, type of thing. So this is why I like ACG. I think he's one of the best people to look at a review, and if you're a person that's interested in a game or, you know, not, watch his stuff, and you can make a good choice and go, you know what, he gave pros and cons, gave a nice overall picture of what it is, and then you will obviously go make the choice, right? If you're interested in reviews. If you're not interested in reviews, which most people aren't, you're just going to go buy the game anyway. Love Sea of Stars. I hear it's good. Go on, Quest. Yeah, I'm excited to see. Let's see what it gets. Let's see. Overall, I guess we can go to Twitter. I'm pretty sure we'll see an overabundance of reviews. Let's see. Looks like it's getting 8s and 9s, right? Paul Tassi says, out of 119 reviews, where is it? Yeah, out of 119 reviews, there's 2 8s. Breaking news, Xbox fanboys agree Spider-Man 2 is the best game they won't get. I mean, that would be a small majority of people that think that, because a lot of people don't even like Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, Spider-Man 1 and 2 sold 33 million copies, right, over the years. And there's over 350 million people on consoles. So, there you go. It's getting 8s. Trash. Yeah. On Metacritic right now, it is a 91 universal. Let me refresh. Yeah, it's a 91. It's got 115 positive ones. We'll read a couple here. We'll see if we can find both high and low. Spider-Man 2, greatest superhero game ever made, period. This is the way it builds off the foundation laid by 2018 Spider-Man. It is a shining example of how to create a sequel. It pulls no punches when involving the experience and delivering an unforgettable ride, unequivalent demands or your attention or other developers. Let's see. GameHub says a sequel of one of the most impressive games of this era, Spider-Man 2, has weighed down by expectations, but Insomniac Games has turned these expectations on their head, spinning the Spider-Man story and that brims with confidence, style, and most important, essential of Human Torch. Let's see if there's any. I mean, look at this. That's a lot of hundreds. Oh, we got 97. Marvel Spider-Man 2 capitalizes on the heights and predecessors of somehow makes New York big enough to be two web slingers who inhibit it. What's more, transform villains and date tropes to complex characters and humanize the people we save and the ones that we also have. It's unforgettable way. I'm not going to read the full thing. 95 says Spider-Man. Let's see. Checkpoint Gaming. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is an incredible strong follow-up, and the reality sets in standard when it comes to superhero games. The story is heartfelt, delivered a genuinely likable cast of characters, and when it also comes to traversal and combat, you won't find a slicker experience out there. Let's see. Let's continue going down. Let's go for a 93 here. Marvel Spider-Man 2, without a doubt, is the best game ever made about this iconic superhero and the adventures with the capital letters that boast a fantastic story, characters that fall in love with the movement system that's no rival. Fast-paced pace, hilarious combat, bosses that leave you speechless. Okay, let's go down. Let's read a 90 review, something that doesn't have a sentence like this. Like, if you're a reviewer and this is your sentence that you're giving. Marvel Spider-Man 2 is definitely one of the best games in 2023, certainly top tier, but you're not giving any kind of description. Comicbook.com says, ultimately, Spider-Man 2 captures the essence of the character on the micro and macro level, and we get the big epic set pieces infused with personal takes, spectacular combat, and amazing web slinging or swinging that's every kid's dream of a story that tests Miles Morales and Peter Parker on both physical and mental levels. Let's go down to... So that's good scores. Let's go down to a lower one to see what someone has to say in the 80s here. Gamer.no says, Marvel Spider-Man 2 delivers on some of the most fun and exhilarating traversal mechanics in any game ever. This makes a blast to explore the colorful open world filled with engaging combat, fun collectibles, and the great one-offs. The game does, however, falter somewhat in the story department, especially in, and then he reads more. Dextero says, Insomniac taps into the heart of a subject matter, and the Peter and Miles is glorious. Being a field-friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is compelling, and you're equally important saving the world, helping someone cross the streets. This game understands beautifully. It's also time of shame and main narrative. So the main narrative, it seems like that's what a lot of people are talking about. Let's see what the lowest score is. To be decided. They haven't decided yet. Polygon. So there's nothing lower than an 80. Nothing lower than an 80 right now. There are hints of greatness, thematic aspirations of within Spider-Man 2. Questions about the mass I can't read. What's that word? Incarcerations in society. Formerly, people worries about the surveillance state. What is given? Seriously, Polygon, you're talking about the people in the game about the surveillance state engaged in modern technology. Okay. Kotaku, whatever it lacks in satisfaction, walked away with Spider-Man 2, but ultimately paled in comparison to the joy of flying over the cityscapes and being able to pretend. However, briefly, what the members of the bright metropolis were every challenge to eventually be overcome, and at least with the help of a superhero. So it looks like it's doing really well across the board. Overall, it's got a 91 on Metacritic out of 115 positive reviews. So good for them. Insomniac, look, they made a great one. 87 for the first one, 85 for Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then this one right now is at a 91. It'll probably settle, I would say, around a 90, right? I would think. After and then the Metacritic score will come in for the people. But not that it matters, right? None of this matters. All reviews are subjective. People are going to like the game, not like the game. It could be the best game in the world. There's still people that don't like it, right? It could be the best game in the world, and millions of people buy it, but there's still tens of millions of people that don't buy it. So it's a good game. I think it's going to be a great game. I'll play it sometime, hopefully next year when I get a PlayStation 5, because I'm not getting one this year. Or maybe I'll just wait for it to come out on PC. Let's see what you guys are saying in chat. Sounds like a massive failure compared to Minecraft. That's right. That's right. Hey, he's going to be the first outlet to go below 80. Wondering if people are holding back so they aren't the first. Oh, but if you're below that, right? It's like, how low can you go? That's what it is, Silent. It's like, if you give it a 79, you're the first one. But if someone comes back and gives it a 77, then your 79 means nothing, and then no one's going to talk about you, right? So you got to come in. You got to come in really low, but not too low. But you got to have that IGN take type of thing. You know what I mean? I mean, Hero, I'm with you. I would love an X-Men game. I would love an X-Men game. Yes, people's opinions are wrong. If the Lord and Savior Spider-Man 2 is below an 80 on Metacritic, that's right. Just to seem cool? Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's what you're going to get. I mean, you are... Because right now you're just getting the critics' reviews, right? You're only getting the critics' reviews. So you're not going to see a review bomb until... When does it come out? Friday? Is that when it comes out? Friday? That's when you're going to start seeing the masses come out. Because this game, the Xbots are going to come out strong and try to say the game is crap, which is just silly. I won't ever get involved with plastic worshipping boxes. You know what I mean? Why is Spawn of Lilith and the dude from Army of Darkness new operators in Call of Duty? Because Call of Duty is trying to do Fortnite. They're fortifying it. Fortification it. Review bombers are AKA proof if someone isn't a gamer. Yeah, but there's also the people that also give it 100s. Like these people that give it 100, this is bullshit in my opinion as well, Travis. No game. No game. 0. If you find a problem with a game, one problem, it's no longer 100, right? In my opinion, anything wrong with the game, pop in, slow, this, that, whatever it is, it's no longer 100. So people that give it 100 is just as bad as people giving it 1s or 0s, in my opinion. The reason people look at Metacritic, okay, is because Metacritic is held to a standard in the industry where if it goes below a certain point, they don't get their bonuses, which is bullshit. Okay, it's not 100, it's just a 99. Again, though, there's things in the game that you could pick out, and I'm not talking about the background looks blurry when you're Spider-Man, you know what I mean? The generalistic statement that I was saying is, for everyone that review bombs something, there's always people that give it a review puff, if that's what you want to call it. This is why I think the review process itself is 100% broke. Because if you cover 100 things in the game and 11 of those things are bad, right? You're just like, oh, this is the bad points. Well, if you had 100 points in the system and 11 are bad, is it a 90? No, it wouldn't be a 99. It wouldn't be a 98. It wouldn't be a 95. So this is why I think it's silly. This is why I go to people like SkillUp or ACG that give a review, and they just give you a review. A review is supposed to just give you, it's like turning it over, okay, and looking at the back of the box to give you a description of what the movie is or what the game is. That's what it is. That's my only thing, Travis. That's my only thing. It's not about if a game gets 100. It's about the game and the system that they use to make the score is absolutely broke. Verified purchases from users outlets, having an agenda, and what are the only things left. This is why I think if it's just a graded scale, right? If it's a grade, or if you just get the person's opinion, right? You find someone that you like, you find someone that you don't like, you listen to their reviews. If they say some good things, they say some bad things, then you get to listen to someone in the middle. If that person in the middle agrees with this person for good stuff or bad stuff, then you're like, all right, this is where it is. It's the middle, right? This is what I do with movies. Critics come out and give it like, oh, it's the best movie ever, 100. And then the crowd comes in and says it's a 50. Well, that means it's a 70, meaning it's a middle of the ground movie, right? Same goes with the critics come out. The critics give it a shitty score, and the crowd comes in, they give it like an 80 or 90. You split the difference. That's where it is. 30, you said you deleted Forza Motorsport. None of my friends want to play the game with me. I'm just alone. It's too big of a game that I'm not going to play. Right? It's too big of a game, Kylo. I played it for the stream, but I'm not going to keep it on there because I'm not going to play it. My son has it on his system. I want them to take what was so good about Spider-Man 1 and just do that better with the two things mentioned before. Even verified purchases are flawed, not because everyone has to fight for a console. Right. Here's a new reality. Most games, not all, but most, have both great and terrible components. I mean, that's anything. Anything. My thing is basically it needs to become a pass-fail system. I don't even think it needs that, Travis. I don't think it needs to say if it's a piece of shit or if it's the greatest thing ever, right? An A, an F, 100, a 1. It's just subjective. It's just someone's review of a game. How do you like it? This is the way I thought about it. This is the way it is, without trying to take what the person personally feels of something and throws it in, right? If I don't like RPGs, or if I don't like role-playing games, or I meant like a real-time strategy games, right? I shouldn't review a game if I don't like that genre. You know what I'm saying? And all the time you have people that play games because that's their job, but they don't like side scrollers, or they don't like indies, or they don't like real-time strategy, or they don't like RPGs, and they're doing a review of it. But they don't gel with the game. They don't like the game. They're not giving the game a reality of what it's supposed to be judged on. They're just like, yeah, I just didn't like it, right? I don't like it. And then they start talking, criticizing, because when you don't like something, then you start to nitpick on every little thing about it. All right. On that, I am going to be done for the day. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for more gameplay tonight. I appreciate you guys coming in. We talked about Netflix. We talked about Walmart and physical copies. We talked about Suicide Squad. We talked about, what else did we talk about? Oh, we talked about Pete Hines retiring. And then we talked about Spider-Man and the reviews. So you watched ACG's review. I appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you coming out. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. It does help us out. We're a very small channel. And I appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.